Shabbat Shalom. Why do people do stupid things? Things they know that they're stupid, and they do them anyway. What were those Secret Service agents thinking? That nobody would see, that they wouldn't get caught? What was John Edwards thinking? That he could hide a second family during an election campaign? What are judges who take bribes thinking? That no one would spill the beans? You've made it to the top. You are the principal of a school, the religious leader of a community, the president of a corporation, or the president of the United States for that matter, and you do stupid, unnecessary things that bring you down. And it's not only people in the public eye. When we cut corners in business without having to, when we cheat on school papers, when we too eagerly promote ourselves at the expense of others, why? Why do we do these things? They that are not even necessary for our advancement. There's a tractate in the Mishnah called Mishnah Avot, Pirkei Avot, that contains 6 chapters of fundamental ethical teachings by the founders of Rabbinic Judaism. And it's customary to study 1 chapter per week during the 6 weeks between Passover and Shavuot. In the 2nd chapter of Mishnah Avot, Pirkei Avot, this being the 2nd week of after Passover, there is a statement of Rabbi Joshua. Ain hara, v'yetzer hara, v'sinat habriot motzi'in et ha'adam min ha'olam. The evil eye, the evil inclination, and hatred of fellow creatures drive a person out of this world. In other words, they drive us crazy. The sages felt that we have this thing in us called the Yetzer, this impulse that causes us to go astray. They described it as the Yetzer Hara, which can't really be translated. It's that problematic, that not good, Ra, that bad impulse in us that pulls us down. We all have it. You can recognize it in yourself. It's the thing that causes you to envy your neighbors. If they bought a big apartment, we need that too. If they have a summer home, we need that too. If their children get into the elite program, our children too. Doesn't matter if we can afford it or not. That's not the point. The point is, why should they have more than me? What am I, chopped liver? If someone has more money than you, more prestige, more status, more attention, it diminishes your happiness. That is the Yetzer Hara. You can't be happy if someone else is too happy. It's the element in our personality that famed journalist and social commentator H.L. Mencken once described in this way. Happiness is making $100 more than your wife's sister's husband. Marketers know that well about us. Be like Mike. Breakfast of champions. Because you're worth it. Have you ever participated in honoring a colleague, and with all of the sincere respect and admiration that you have for that person, nonetheless, you feel that twinge of je ne sais quoi? That little voice inside of you that says, Why aren't they recognizing me? That little voice that always wants recognition. That's what the rabbis called the Yetzer Hara, the problematic impulse. You ever been passed over for a job or stewed in your office while others take credit for what you feel you've done? That's the Yetzer Hara, the problematic impulse. It's that part of our personality that considers any slight against me to be an offense of monumental proportions, but real disrespect of others is trivial in our eyes. It's what Mel Brooks once meant when he said, "Tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you walk into an open sewer and die." And so we have this daily struggle going on inside of us. Rabbi Isaac said a person's evil desire renews itself daily against him. It grows stronger in him from day to day. It lures us. It traps us into its web and draws us ineluctably towards making us slaves of passion rather than free souls. But our sages realize that we are who we are in part because of this Yetzer. This impulse of dominance, envy, ego, control, selfishness. The point, according to the rabbis, was not to deny the Yetzer and not to be resigned to it either. The devil made me do it. Our task, say our sages, is to master this impulse and use it for good purposes. Rabbi Nachman said, if it were not for the evil impulse, no man would build a house, take a wife, or have children. If it were not for the Yetzer, the desire to see our name in lights, no one would become a star. A star in the movies, on stage, in theater, in opera houses. No one would write books. They wouldn't be motivated enough. Altruism is not normally enough motive to work hard, get ahead, succeed, and do great things. Anyone who writes books understands that part of the allure is not only sharing your views with others. That's the good impulse. That resides in us too. But for authors, writing books is also about seeing your name on the book, preferably the more sold, the better. Being talked about. And that's not all bad. We need that too. Society wouldn't advance, according to the rabbis. No one would design houses if part of the allure was not having a more beautiful house than the one next door. So we need this problematic impulse, this Yetzer, to be fully human. And as the rabbi said, the greater the person, the greater the Yetzer. In other words, the best of us, the most successful, the most ambitious, the most talented, are also the ones who have the most powerful inclinations and the most intense internal struggles. That's why when you look at someone who's reached the top, it is precisely those very people who often bring themselves down. Fortunately, not only do the sages describe the problem, they also offer the solution. What is the solution? The Talmud states, our rabbis taught, the Holy One spoke unto Moses, unto the children of Israel, my children, I created the evil impulse, but I also created the Torah as the antidote. If you occupy yourselves with Torah, you will not be delivered into the hands of the Yetzer Hara. The school of Rabbi Ishmael taught, if this Yetzer, if this repulsive wretch meets you, drag him to the house of study. It's the classic Jewish approach. What is the method to deal with our daily struggle to do good and to control ourselves despite ourselves? It's Torah. Study. Reflection. That's the way we converse with and gain access to the greatest minds of history. It's the way that we understand that we are not alone. All human beings have struggled with the same impulses. We can do it. We can overcome. We can master our straying hearts and our self-absorbed minds. We can do it by learning how others have done it. We do not wish to eliminate the joy of food, but we seek to master our appetite. We do not wish to eliminate the joy of wine, but we seek to master our consumption. We do not wish to eliminate the acquisition of material resources. Poverty is not a virtue in Judaism, but we seek to find balance between acquisition and sharing. The human being is a dangerous animal when out of control. Eat, but don't be a glutton. Drink, but don't be a drunk. Be ambitious, but don't be an egomaniac. Influence, but don't be authoritarian. Lead, but don't be a tyrant. Seek discipline, wisdom, and self-mastery. These are what make for a free person, free from the domination of the Yetzer. We don't do enough of that today. We have all these self-help gurus who mostly help and enrich themselves. We have pills that we can pop to control our appetites and moods. Sometimes we need them. But we are a generation that seeks to medicate the Yetzer rather than mastering it. We seek synthetic solutions, not natural ones. Researchers tell us that they have made a new discovery. Morality, they say, has nothing to do with religion, morals, habits, and values. It's all about brain chemistry. They speculate that we will soon be able to develop a pill that can alter our brain chemistry towards altruism, courage, and good deeds. So in the future, if someone is acting immorally, indecently, impractically, we'll prescribe for that person a daily pill. We'll call it a morality pill that only wealthy Americans will be able to afford because insurance won't cover it. And then we'll say, you see, it's always the poor minorities who cause trouble. Get back to the basics. Yes, technology, medicine, science, these have advanced in giant steps and have made our lives immeasurably better. But the human creature is the same. And the remedy is what it always was. Torah, study, reflection, moral training, moral routines, habits. Judaism insists that biology is not destiny. Judaism insists that we can acquire the strength to say no to internal temptations and to the various idolatries of society. And when we master our impulses, we can truly say that we are free. The free among us will be able to look back at our lives and think, you know what? It was hard, but somehow I did it. And those of us who succumbed will look back with regret on missed opportunities and say to ourselves, it wasn't so hard. Why didn't I exert myself more? The Talmud concludes, one day, the Holy One will bring the evil inclination before the righteous and the wicked. To the righteous, it will appear like a towering hill, and to the wicked, it will appear like a strand of hair. Both the righteous and the wicked will weep. The righteous will weep, saying, how were we able to overcome such a towering hill? And the wicked will weep, saying, how is it that we were unable to overcome this strand of hair. Amen.